Gonna do a walkthrough of my new boat this year. It's a 2020 Lund 2075 Pro V Bass. I've been running it all season, and I'm gonna give my end of year review and show you how everything held up. So I'm gonna start with the back here, the business end. It's got the V8 Mercury 250 4-stroke. This thing's quickly becoming a staple. They're looking like the deal. This is the motor you want. So I haven't played with props too much. They ship with a 19 pitch, I think, on the extra seat models. This one I just went with a 24 right out of the box, and it seemed to do the job just fine. I've got twin 12-foot Minn Kota talons. I've got them mounted right to a jack plate here. This is a 10-inch Atlas hydraulic jack plate. What else can I tell you about the back? That's about it. I use these My Wedge motor supports, and then these, whoever makes these steering stops, just so it doesn't move when you're trailering. I went with the high-end trailer, purely for aesthetic purposes. And the higher end trailer comes with load guides and spare tires and all that. And it just looks so much better than the other one. But obviously that's not that big of an issue for a lot of people. We'll hop in here. I'll just give you an idea of the layout in this thing. This is probably the coolest part of the boat. Not the coolest, but a really nice feature. There's these on either side, so it turns it into a 4-seater bass boat, essentially, is what you have. And I can't tell you the amount of times I've used that, bringing a few people out to our camp down the lake, going out for dinner to like Ash Rapids in the evening. Just a really nice feature to have. So, in the back here, I've got a honking North Star 31 series battery. The thing weighs like about 90 pounds. I'm running everything off it. So the option was 2 smaller ones or 1 huge one. I went with 1 huge one just for simplicity. Got little add-on pegs for the wiring. I try to keep everything as organized as I can. Zip tie them off, but once you're dealing with so many wires, it makes it difficult. Everything I've got on an inline fuse. All my graphs, I totally bypass the factory switch, and I just run them straight to the battery, just so I don't lose any power on the way and don't risk any interference or anything like that. Showed you the seats, and this thing's got so much storage. Underneath the seats, a couple dry boxes. These aren't your driest compartments, so they're on the floor. The water has to pass through somewhere. That's where it goes. So it runs to the back and then into the drain. Don't be putting clothes or tackle or anything in these ones. Just dry boxes, tools, props, stuff like that. Same thing on the other side. Another huge storage compartment. Spare prop in there. And like, lots of these are empty. I carry around a lot of gear, and my tournament partners love this boat because there's always a ton of places to put their stuff. Here's the big live wells. Probably pretty loud right now. I'll turn that off. I've actually got a bunch of bait in here. I've got a walleye tournament tomorrow. One thing I learned about keeping bait alive is keep it in your live well with as fresh water as you can, and just turn it on recirc auto, and it'll just keep pumping water through, and like there's not a dead minnow in sight. So they're doing good. These live wells are pretty awesome. You can switch from bass mode to walleye mode in a hurry. You just pull this up, and then you've got one big live well or a couple separate ones. I fished lots of walleye and bass tournaments out of this thing, and it's perfect for both. There's nothing holding me back in either derby. There's a couple cup holders for the people in the back, some storage, a couple snacks. What else we got? A bit more storage there for your partner. More storage here. It's usually where I keep like my tools and culling equipment and that. It's a little cooler in there actually, but it's good for keeping everything dry. Massive rod locker. There's over 20 rods in here right now, and there's plenty of room to burn. It looks like you'd fill it up quick because there's only, I think there's like 16 slots. It doesn't matter. You can see most of these are doubled up. You can pack this thing. Musky rods, 9-footers, no problem. I don't know what the max is, but I haven't hit it yet. That's one of the best features. And big cooler here. Nice touch. And then you just get into endless storage. Keep all my clothes in this one, safety equipment, gloves. It's fall time, so that one's really packed. Tackle. This is going to be ugly. Bunch of tackle. Organized to a real specific system that I have going. Color coded, alphabetical, you know, all that stuff. And just more storage. It's endless. Like I said, the boat's in tournament mode right now, and there's still tons of room to burn. On the bow, I've got a Minn Kota Ultrex. I use a 52-inch shaft on these. Since these boats came out, there's been a debate on a 52 or a 60. A friend of mine has a 60. It's not the way to go. You know, maybe if you're on the Great Lakes and you're dealing with huge waves, but I fished some big water in this down in the Traverse on Lake of the Woods, and it hasn't been an issue with it cavitating or coming out of the water. So 52 112 is definitely the one you want on here. And there's really no reason not to get an Ultrex. Big butt seat guy, so got a couple of those. And we'll take you back to the dash here. This thing's pretty luxe for a aluminum boat. I had a Predator before, and I'm definitely spoiled in this thing. This is a real sweet setup here. So I've got my jack plate gauge, blinker trim. And mostly the whole purpose of that is to make you feel cool when you're driving. It doesn't take much to control these boats, so you don't need to have two hands on the wheel, 10 and 2 white knuckling the whole time like you do in some bass boats, but I like the trim there anyway and the jack plate, so I put it on. Some gauges. Helix 10 side imaging in the dash. This is maxed out on these models. The 2021s that are coming out, you know, they identified that people might want a bigger graph than a 10-inch in their console, so they set them up so you can put, I think it's up to like a 15 or something. So that's one change for the new models. I mean, for me, a 10's lots. I've still got my eyesight, and if I was gonna add one here, but there was really no need. So what else? Yeah, gauges, seats. That's pretty much it as far as the layout goes, and that's really what sold me on this boat. I mean, there's no boat like this out there. I mean, it's a deep V 4-seater bass boat. So I fish walleye tournaments and bass tournaments. I'm covered on both of those. I guide sometimes. I'm a cottage owner on Lake of the Woods, so I have to load up gear and bring it out there and, you know, take people around. I don't like to admit it, but I've towed a tube around before, so you can do that. There's really no compromise to this boat. I can keep up in the walleye tournaments, no problem. Run big water, stop in the middle of it and fish. You know, have live wells that are suitable for walleye fishing and keeping bait and all that. I'm able to keep all my equipment in here. The Lund Sport Track system, I can add the same add-ons that I can a Pro V. So I'm really not limited there. I went with the single console one, just for room. Wife wasn't too pumped on that decision, and the most common decision is to add the second console, but whatever, it's not there. I'm hardcore into fishing and more serious about it than I am comfort. So sorry, dear, and sorry to my partners who have to sit there, but you can turn the seat around. You can't do that in a regular bass boat. Just adjust that, spin it backwards, and you're good, or whatever. The only thing I could see you're compromising on a little bit is comfort versus a full windshield. It's fall now and it gets a little chilly out there, but I have a really good rain suit and dress for it, and yeah, I'm really happy with this layout. I don't like a big walleye tub with high walls and everything. I just don't see any disadvantages to fishing out of this boat. And it's fast too. The fastest I've had it was like 62.5 miles an hour. Full tournament load, full live wells, full tank, and a couple people in it. It goes 60, but it gets there right now. Like, it's got the best hole shot in the game for sure. You can pass some bass boats right out of the gate off the hole. You'll get past eventually. A lot of those bass boats go 67 to 70 miles an hour, but the hole shot's unbelievable. If it's rough out there, you're gonna beat any boat on the lake. We saw that in the walleye tournament this year. Big deep V fiberglass boats in 2 or 3 footers. We ate them alive in this thing. Still only going 59 miles an hour, but no reason to slow down at all. It just eats those waves. So it's definitely awesome for that. I've been really happy with it. There really haven't been any issues. It is an aluminum boat, so I don't care who makes it. Every aluminum boat out there that has screws in it, eventually a couple of them are going to come loose. I've got about 80 hours on this one. A couple of these floor screws, maybe 2 of them have backed out a little. Just a little dab of silicone, put them back in. You don't have to worry about those ones anymore. That's just pretty much standard practice for an aluminum boat, especially one that gets used in big water, and you just keep an eye on them once in a while. That's if anyone's telling you their screws don't ever come out of their aluminum boat, then they're lying. Had a letter come off of one of my seats, and I foolishly threw a couple scales in here, weigh scales, and the rain, water, and all of that got back, and I got the scales wet. So those are the 3 huge major concerns with this boat. For those to be the only issues on a boat that I've totally put through the ringer this year with guiding and fun fishing and running the camp and all that stuff, that's pretty impressive. One more thing to watch, if any aluminum boat owner with bunk trailers, rivets and bunks aren't the best of friends. I got used to loading up bunk trailers by power loading them with the trailer mostly out of the water and power load it on, and you're done. If you do that with these aluminum boats too hard, then you'll eventually wear down these rivets. You can see that one, a little bit of paint came off. That's just from my own neglect. So just back it up a little further. Put your fenders all the way under the water. Like, you want them 2 inches under the water, these guys, and just ease it on. Little bit of extra time and caution at the boat ramp will save you in the long term. That's my boat. I've absolutely loved it this year. There's no other rig I want to be in. And I can do whatever I want. It's like a Swiss Army knife boat. Looks good, it rides good, it's fast, it's smooth, and most importantly, it fishes nicer than any boat I've ever been in. So check them out. Go see Cam and the crew at Winnipeg Sport and Leisure in Kenora, Winnipeg. Or go down to the boat show in March, and I'll walk you through one myself. Thanks for watching. We'll see you out there.